What's up, guys? What's up, guys? How would you like to do an Instagram live with me right now and talk about supplementation? I'm doing this live because this weekend's the Biohacking Conference, and I'm going to bring a special guest on for you to learn from. My friend Wade from Bioptimizers, which is one of the supplement companies that I really appreciate and I work with. Guy's been on the show quite a few times because these guys really know how to do things for the gut, for magnesium, and I rely on their supplements as part of what I take. I'm looking to see a request for him to join. Should be coming on in just a second here with you. All right, come on, where are you guys? All right, hey Ash, thank you. I appreciate you saying I'm looking good. I absolutely didn't do anything. I don't know, this lighting's a bit weird. I just feel like I have wrinkles. I must be getting old. All right, here's Denise Austin. Hey Denise, 14 more people joined. I see someone here from South America. That's beautiful. So Greg, I look nice and tanned. I am nice and tanned. You know how I do that? Well, part of it is that, I want to see what's really going on in the studio. This is where I'm doing the conference. By the way, you can go to biohackingconference.com, but you see that? That would be a halogen light. But the real reason I'm tanned is actually something called melanocyte stimulating hormone. It's the reason all of us are tanned. In fact, it's also the reason that you may have darker skin than me. And that can be because, well, that's the hormone that causes your skin to make melanin. And if you didn't know this, melanin is a superpower. It's a superpower because melanin helps protect your skin from the sun. It also makes your eyes and your brain able to do something like a capacitor. It can store energy for when you really need to do it. There's Bioptimizers saying they're trying to get with us, but that means I can go live with them. Sure. We got hyperbaric oxygen, questions about magnesium. Guy from Mexico. Look at that. How are you, my friend?
Dave, great to be on here. I'm so pumped about this weekend with the Biohacking Conference. We couldn't get to the real one, but man, we are going to do it digitally. And I know I've been talking to all these biohackers around the world, and everybody is just like, please, Dave, save us. Save us. We need to connect. So I'm super jacked, as you know. So great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, what I wanted you to do today was answer questions about supplements for people. I'll pick some questions from our thread here. And what's going on, guys, is there's a huge amount of knowledge, and Bioptimizers is a major sponsor of the conference. And what happened this year is I've done the conference for 7 years in a row. It's usually at the Beverly Hilton. And for obvious reasons, I like to say we could have done the conference, but we were not allowed to do the conference this year. And I think we actually could have done it safely. But because of that, now the virtual conference is, we've got the guys who helped to organize TED here at the studios who are helping to set this up. And we've got huge guests who couldn't have come to LA, like Maria Shriver, Ariana Huffington. So the quality of our guests is outstanding. And we've got people from all over the world. Like there's tickets in India, in Singapore, all over Latin America, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, I feel like Indonesia, did I say that one? Japan. So it's become a global conference. There's a private Facebook group for you in it. And there's a huge community that's already formed around biohacking, but it's expanding globally and we're all interconnecting at the conference. Biohackingconference.com. Now let's answer some questions for people because that's what they're here for. Either that they just wanted to see your nice tan. They were talking about my tan. All right, here's a question from me. What supplement should you take if you want to get tan?
You know, it's interesting because that's a good question, because I was just actually discussing this because I'm very fair-skinned by nature. My entire genetic history is from Northern Europe, as you might guess, with my blonde hair and all that stuff. And I had a real issue with burning. And when I started using my supplements, Masszymes, on like at what I call super physiological dosages, like all us biohackers go to, over the course of about 2 years, my capacity to tolerate sun went up so much that I don't even use any sun tanning stuff, and I get dark and tanned and all that. And so I was like, is that just an anomaly? And I started doing this with my light complected people, and they started to see a responsiveness in their ability to tan. Matt experienced that. He lives in Panama, my co-founder, and a whole array of my redheaded and blonde-haired friends who just get fried in the sun have seen an adaptive response. Now, that's not saying it's a tanning thing or that it's
Yeah.
going to do that, but it does make a difference. There are some new supplements out, I do believe, that you can take that actually increase melanin production. I'm not an expert in that, but I do know Matt's experimented
Okay.
with that and had positive results.
Well, let's talk about it a little bit, and we'll get some more into some of the things you're doing specifically at Bioptimizers. But I'm just going to do a quick call out here. There's a couple people in the comments trying to inject politics into this thread. So here's the deal. I don't give a shit who you're going to vote for. I don't give a shit about your stuff. This is about all of humanity. Get that crap off my feed right now. Don't do that here. I will kick you off and I'll ban you from my page. All right? We are talking about increasing all humans' capabilities and their mindsets and everything else. Do not pollute the feed. Seriously. Like, take a deep breath or something. All right. Sorry. Back to our normal scheduled programming. Douchebags. By the way, I don't even know which side these people are on. Anyway,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Nothing we're saying here is about politics. We're talking about how the body works, and it works the same no matter who you vote for. Seriously. Jesus Christ. All right. Deep breath, Dave. That was supposed to be an indoor voice. Anyway.
Zen, 4 years of Zen.
By the way, look at all the hearts from that. This is how 99% of people feel. It's the angry, vocal 1%. And you guys, I will kick you off of here. Like, don't even bring that here. All right. So, what happens with melanin in the body, because people just ask about tans, you're tan, I'm tan. Melanin is just cross-linked polyphenols. That's all it is, right? So you got to give your body the polyphenols in order to do that. They come from, colored foods and coffee and tea and chocolate and things like that. And then while you're developing your tan, vitamin D might be important. Magnesium, you always have to take magnesium with your vitamin D. And I highly recommend the Bioptimizers magnesium because you guys are the only ones who have all 7 forms, the different pathways it absorbs. So I really like your magnesium. And so you'd want to take that and the D. I like my Bulletproof vitamin A, D, and K together. That's a really good thing to do together. That's going to help you to be able to use the sunlight to sulfate the vitamin D. And then there's some studies for astaxanthin, which I use in eye armor. Do you guys have astaxanthin in any of your formulas?
No.
No. Okay, cool. So the eye armor that I made for Bulletproof is something that's shown in multiple studies to be helpful for your skin cells. To protect themselves from oxidants. So that combination of stuff has allowed me even to be at like 7,000 feet with my shirt off for a while. But the big hack is something that you will absolutely support because you guys make Capex, which is this supplement that helps you absorb fat better. If you eat a lot of the seed oils, the ones in my recent Instagram post, the seed oils that make you more susceptible to COVID because they make you cause inflammation and cytokine storms everywhere, omega-6 inflammatory oils, get those out of your cell membranes and your resilience to sun goes through the roof. I used to get like burned in 15 minutes when I ate bad oils when I was much younger and obese. And when you do this though, it takes 2 years of being bulletproof to replace half your cell membranes. But you can shift it in your skin, in your white fat cells, all those things. And to do it, you want to be able to eat the right fats, but to absorb the right fats, you need those fat absorbing enzymes. And so tell me about Capex, what you put in there, because that's something that's actually groundbreaking and super helpful for keto people.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of the interesting points that, of course, Matt and you have very similar metabolisms and components, and he designed Capex because I had trouble absorbing and digesting fats. I was an old bodybuilder on the high carbohydrate, low fat diets. And so we used to get into all these great discussions and going back and forth. And then he actually designed that product not only for himself and for people that are following a bulletproof high fat diet, but also for people like me who may found that wasn't as easy to do. And basically it contains our famous triphase protease, which is in our Masszymes product, but it also contained are 4 different types of lipases. So there are different types of lipases that work in various pH ranges depending on the types of fats you are taking and the various pathways of how those enzymes work. So we put that together all in one product so that we had a digestive enzyme that would enhance everything people are doing on a high fat bulletproof style diet. And it works like magic. In fact, I was able myself to be able to really thrive on it. In fact, I was just down to Bulletproof this morning and took my Capex as I live just down the street, and I walk in the morning, know all your staff, they're amazing. And I take my 5 Capex in the morning, and I take my Bulletproof coffee, and I take my, what's the little ones with the little ampules that you got?
Unfair Advantage.
Yes, that's the one. The unfair Advantage and the zinc and your zinc formula, which is awesome. And I take all of those today in the morning, and I walk down Venice Beach and enjoy the sunlight. Capex also has couple other really unique stuff It's got some DHEA. It's got L-carnitine to transport the fats into the mitochondria. It's got some bile-stimulating herbs that gets your bile going so
Super
that you
important.
help break down drugs. So all of that combined into one single easy capsule that you can use and take it, and you kind of dose up to, every person is a variance. Usually somewhere between 2 and 4 caps is where most people will fall on a serving.
So guys, even when I was testing out the Bulletproof diet, going back to like 2010, when I was triangulating on this before I wrote the book, before I wrote the first blog post, I would take lipase and some of the other ingredients to make sure I was absorbing the fat to see what was happening. And so this is something that's an unknown hack for people a lot of times who are in ketosis and all. Now, Glenn is making a comment here. He says, hi from Treasure Island. I can't come into the conference because it's his anniversary. Happy anniversary, Glenn. But you have previous plans. You guys can go to biohackingconference.com. You can sign up for the conference, and you can sign up to get the full videos for the conference as well. So what's really valuable there is the community, and we have a private Facebook group for this with thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and that group continues throughout the year. So you want to be able to come into the conference, learn from one of the virtual vendors here, like Bioptimizers. They actually have people there, a little virtual place you can go to in the world we're making for the conference, and you can ask questions and you can learn things and get discounts and all sorts of stuff like that. So when you come into the Biohacking conference, you actually have the ability to save a ton of money because most people have their conference discounts. We still have a few boxes left as well. So if you go to a conference and you get you sign in, you get a big bag full of stuff you have to carry around and then leave in your hotel room because you can't bring it on the airplane. We send you all the good stuff. So you can sign up for that. There's only a few left though. And I'm not saying that to try and stimulate sales. I'm saying that because there's really only a few left. So the conference has been very popular. What are you most excited to learn about at the conference? Do you have any speakers that you've seen that are going to?
I'm actually very curious about what Maria Shriver is sharing because, of course, I followed her when she was way back in the news area, and then, of course, when she was married to Arnold. And I haven't been following what she's been doing lately, so I'm actually most excited about what Maria Shriver is going to be sharing today and on the conference. Can you give us like maybe a little hat tip?
She's actually one of the most resilient human beings that I know of. I mean, she is mentally been able to do that. And so I'm going to be really picking her brain about like, what does her practice look like for being resilient? When I say resilient, I mean, she's had, deaths in the family. She has all the stress of being, a highly visible person. And a lot of people are saying, oh, wouldn't it be great to be famous? All the famous people I know are like, do you know how much work it is to be famous? And people are like, Dave, you're famous. Yeah, right. Maria Shriver's famous. I'm just like a little tiny dot on the line. It's a different thing. But even then, like there's just, you never can relax. There's always pressure on you. And she's also from a very powerful family, the Kennedy family. So I'm going to go deep on that. Like, how do you deal with that kind of like the whole world is like looking at you, you're married to Arnold for many years and then divorces and all that. So my plan is to be like, all right, the psychology of this. So I'm stoked on that.
Yeah, and I think the other thing I'm always excited about is, I remember going back to your events 4 years ago, and I got to go there before Matt, my co-founder, said, and I said, Matt, what's really great is if you ever created an event, you would have created the event that Dave created. I think you guys actually seen it at your event, so I don't know what you do as a curation process. The only challenge I had was there would be 2 great speakers, one in the breakout room, one on the mainstream, and I'd be like, I want to see both.
Yeah.
So are you doing recordings on this?
The entire conference is available at recorded because some of the breakouts, like I'm doing an intense breakout on 40 years of Zen, right? And at the same time, there's other breakouts. So you're going to pick the one where you want the most chance to interact with the speakers. And part of the plan, look clearly with thousands and thousands of people coming in, I can't promise that your question is going to get answered, but as much as possible, interactions there are happening. And you can also ask your questions on Facebook. And if the speaker doesn't know the answer, I promise you one of our community knows, because the thousands of people, if you sum all of their knowledge, it's probably got about a 99.8% overlap with me. And there's some weird stuff that I know that I came up with that I probably haven't talked about. Other than that, I'm pretty sure that we all know more than I know. So this is where that community comes in, because we can all help each other that much. And speaking of helping each other, Patricia, or Patrice, it looks like, Patrice Jahand says a lot of women struggle to lose weight on keto. Should they take supplements to help with this? What's your take? And I'm going to also provide some info on that, but tell me what you think first.
Well, I think one of the things on ketogenic diets for women, a lot of the literature or a lot of the information, people get into intermittent fasting and stuff like that. And what I know from, we have an expert that kind of curates things with women, and a lot of women find that they do better if they eat earlier in their day and have their fasting part later. And it's just the way the hormone cycles go. So that's one of the integrations that they might want to experiment. The other thing is I think this is a very key aspect that a lot of people overlap. Anytime that you or me or any of the other, experts in the field are talking about something, we're offering kind of general integrations that we've made with our own stuff. And if there's one thing that I think everybody that goes to this conference needs to learn, is you've got to be willing to do the testing and experimenting and getting the right people to give you the feedback and information, because it's what you don't know. And I would say to this person, you're probably one or two tweaks away from optimizing it. And without trying to figure this out on your own is virtually impossible. It's the bulletproof route to go. That's why you have these conferences, so you can hear from people who have had success and walk away and go, aha. And to give you a case in point, you had Charles Poliquin at your conference a couple years ago.
Yep.
And when I went through my went through the burnout stage, I remembered what Charles said about magnesium and how he was using it with his athletes and the different types of magnesium. And that led me and Matt to go deep into that process because of what Charles left us a little clue. And who knew that 2 or 3 years later, we would have this magnesium product that your people like. So to that person, you can't get everything from a book. A book leads you to the point where you decide that you're going to take your health in your own hands, and that you are going to get some experts to give you the feedback that you need to make those little tiny tweaks that make all the difference in the world. And you'll be on your way, and you'll never look back again, because you take back the empowerment of becoming an authority with a team of people who are advising you with the right information. And that's one of the things I think the Bulletproof is all about. The conferences for me is about who's doing something amazing, what have they learned, and where do I go to apply these things to myself.
It's interesting, the question about women in particular. I'm listening to everyone. Believe it or not, there's slightly more women than men who follow me on social and consume all the content, even the podcast. So it's very evenly split, but it's like 5% more women. And my new book, Fast This Way, by the way, it just became available for resale, fastthisway.com. If you want to pick up a copy, I'd appreciate it. And I have a whole chapter in there about fasting for women, because it's true. Women should not go on unending keto. At least most of them shouldn't. And it routinely, after 6 weeks, your sleep will not work, your hormones won't work. So you need to cycle it the way I've said in the Bulletproof diet forever. And if you fast, you might want to change your fasting regimen, especially during certain times of your cycle. So we talk about that stuff. And by the way, conference on sex, and it's amazing. What you need to know about sex is kind of different for men and women, right? So all of that's there in the conference. I wanted to say thanks for sponsoring the conference. Thanks for being there and showing up for our community. Biooptimizers makes really good stuff. I use it on a daily basis. And guys, thank you for tuning in on this Instagram Live. I think you're going to find that if you're looking for magnesium, you're looking for ability to absorb fat and some other amazing things, Biooptimizers has some of the world's best stuff you can get for supplements. I'm very picky about how it's put together and what all's in there, and these guys make the grade and then some. I will see you all on Saturday, biohackingconference.com. It's going to be amazing.
Thanks so much, Dave. Excited to be there.